speaker today is a Keystone member. So I'm very excited to introduce our Keystone members and allow them to demonstrate the skills that they've learned over the past 8 weeks. Tony is a senior, and when he graduates, he will be moving to New York City. He has a passion not only for the Big Apple, but also for music, as we all know. Today, Tony's going to be sharing with us about his Thanksgiving this year and how it's going to be a little bit different than from years in the past. Tony's speech is titled,
The Blessing.
The Blessing. It'll be 4 to 6 minutes. Please join me in welcoming Tony Sabay.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
There's a statistic, well, not a statistic, but recent research that my psychology teacher told me about Hispanics and how, on average, than other ethnicity, we live longer because of our diet and because of our family. I don't really believe the whole diet part simply because we eat a lot of, you guys know. But I do believe the family part. Most Hispanics come from a really large family. They have a lot of uncles, cousins, aunts, brothers and sisters, and we're always constantly partying. We're always constantly partying every weekend, whether it's either a small barbecue, a quinceañera, or a birthday. But I don't believe it's just Hispanics. I believe it can be anyone who has a close family. I believe if you have family and you are happy with your family and the way you live, you are going to live longer than the average person because, well, I know that sounds kind of mean to say, but I mean, if you're happy with your life, you're bound to have a more rich and happier life, obviously. And when I was smaller, I was an only child up until I was 8. I grew up alone. My parents were there, but they were always constantly working. They would leave me at home. I would watch TV by myself. I'd play with video games. I'd talk to my cousins on the phone whenever I could. But I was always that middle child in the whole entire family. My cousins were either too old or younger. They weren't around. It wasn't. Sorry, excuse me. I was that middle child, and my younger cousins and whatnot, they were around 2 or 3 years younger. But by the time that I was 8, that was a significant age, and I didn't really have anyone to talk to. So I noticed that I became an observational learner. I didn't really talk much, but I always observed my uncles and my aunts and my cousins. And I would be at a cousin's house, and there would be a heated argument between my aunt and my uncle. And things would escalate, and there would be violence. You know, there would be a slap here, a punch there, and I never said anything. You know, I was 8. I didn't know what to do. I would freak out, and I would just kind of keep it to myself. And I would see it a lot throughout my whole entire family. And whenever Thanksgiving came along, it's like all of that was forgotten. Everybody came together. Everybody stopped worrying. Everybody stopped stressing. And it was a big old jolly time. We'd basically eat and party from 2 to 2 in the morning, and it'd be beautiful. Except no one really spoke. No one really gave thanks. No one really prayed. We just got there. Oh, hey, how you doing? Let's eat. And that was it. We partied and that was it. I have learned that it's very... Early on, I learned to give gratitude for everything that I have. For what used to be violent uncles, for what used to be my angry parents, or whatever. Simply because even though they were doing all these wrong things, I learned to not be like that. You know, I had cousins that would go on and be gang members, that would be in a gang. I would have aunts and uncles or cousins that would do drugs and they would drink excessively, which would lead to a whole bunch of different problems. And I saw that all around me, and I knew that's somebody I did not want to be. That's something I did not want to aspire to be when I grew up. And I learned not simply through just being part of that specific situation, but I learned from doing what other people's are doing that's leading them into a wrong path. And now, as I aspire to go to New York next year, in June actually, I'm very thankful for all of the events that have happened throughout my life. You know, I've seen domestic violence between my parents and my aunts and uncles, I have mentioned before, firsthand. I was there, I saw everything, I saw how they reacted, their facial expressions and whatnot, and then it really affected me. I've seen my cousins do drugs, like right next to me. They even offered me some, but I knew in my heart that's not what the type of person I wanted to be. I knew that with these drugs and alcohol, they would just lead me into a completely different path that I did not want to go into. So I'm planning on making this next Thanksgiving a little different. You know, I want everybody to be involved and saying what they're thankful for. And you know, I plan on doing a small speech because this is basically my last Thanksgiving here with my family, and it probably will be a very long time until I see them again. And I'm basically gonna thank everybody simply because I know a lot of my aunts and uncles are going through hard times still, and they, you know, you can see it in their eyes that they have this sadness in them, because even though they work a big amount of time, they don't think they have accomplished anything. They don't think, through the action of my cousins, which are not significantly good, but they think they're a failure in a sense. Like, you can see it in their eyes, and I see them, and it hurts me because I know if I try talking to them, they'll be like, whatever. Like, what do you know about parenting, or what do you know about trying to teach your child to do a specific thing? But I know, and I'm pretty sure when I approach them this Thanksgiving and tell them, hey, you know what? Even though your kids or my cousins are not doing their own thing, doing the right thing, that's their fault. Because I know in my heart you've told them the right thing. I know you've told them the right thing to do, but unfortunately this is how it has to turn out. But I'm grateful because my younger cousins, who happen to look up to me, which is true because I get tremendous amount of pressure from everybody to say, I've heard my uncles and aunts talking about, this, you should be like Tony. You should do what Tony's doing. You should join the Boys and Girls Club. You should get AP classes. You should do this and that. And I don't know, inside of me there's this pressure that I just can't really, I'm not sure. I just have a feeling that, you know, failure is not an option, but I know I'm not going to fail because of everything I've learned throughout the years. And when I go to New York, I know that through everything that I've seen and learned, it'll help me become the man that I aspire to be. And I just hope that you guys remember that family is the most important thing, no matter what anyone says, and that you'll reflect and look back that everything that anyone's ever told you will matter and does matter. And I just hope that you guys continue doing your Thanksgiving thing if you guys are doing it right. And just thank you for your time, for listening to me, and I hope you guys enjoy your breakfast.